R&B at that point, right?
Well, so in high school, we were writing kind of on the same, vein of like your Drew Hill or like, Boys to Men type stuff.
Okay.
A lot of
Okay.
harmonies, and we since we went to a performing arts school, we were able to pull, from because the guys who were singers, we were all vocal majors. We were able to grab an orchestra guy, and he played guitar for us. We were able to
Hmm.
grab somebody from the band to play drums for us, and so all of our music was original, as far as like original band and everything. And uh, God bless our vocal director, Mr. Glasscock, Dr. Glasscock, excuse me. He got his doctorate degree. Dr. Glasscock, who had paid for us to make about a 5-6 track demo, in one of the more professional studios here in Louisville.
Hmm.
And that was a whole experience in itself. Like, being a senior in actually, no, at that point, I think that was our junior year in high school, going to a studio to record these songs that we've wrote. And then not only that, but we were able to perform those songs our senior year in front of our entire high school, and they all sang along, knew the words, like stuff like that is just incredible. Like to experience that so young in life, and you know what I mean?
It's
It
a
was,
great feeling.
yeah, dude, it's the coolest. I mean, like I experienced it more as I did music on my own,
Right.
but I still always had my brothers with me. As far as my brothers and the gentlemen, I'll go ahead and shout those guys out. Look up Tezza Too Deep and Rob Lee. Tez is more of like hip hop, but he sings too. And then Rob Lee is one of my favorite R&B artists. Dude is incredible. So
Now, did you do anything with hip hop at all?
yeah, well, so I would. I'm a hip hop head at heart, and
Right.
so, um, but
We're gonna
being
dive into that as well.
what's that?
We're gonna dive into that as well because I want to know what kind of style you're into.
Awesome, yes, absolutely. So yeah, I'm a hip hop head at heart, but being classically trained and all that stuff, I definitely wanted to be a part of, but I knew kind of where I fell into, as far as singing and stuff. So I I tried to rap at one point when I was like a freshman or sophomore, and it just
Mhm.
my friends who were rappers were like, no. So that's why I just kind of chilled. But yeah. So, however, I did have a lot of friends who were rappers, and so I would hop on hooks all the time. I would sing, you know. I have a track with my buddy Semi where me and him are pretty much going back and forth. He raps, I sing, kind of sing and respond type shit. So yeah, like I did a lot of work with rappers, but I never rap myself really. So
Okay. What kind of style do you like? Because you said you're hip hop head.
yeah, man. So I mean, really any and everything. I originally grew up on probably like the South, I would say. That was like my first love when it comes to hip hop. Like that Master P, No Limit, 3 6
Okay.
Mile, Hypnotized Mind stuff.
Okay.
And then as I became more, you know, uh, I guess grown or whatever, I learned to appreciate lyricism. I'm a big Tupac fan,
Okay.
just because of the substance and everything like that. You know what I mean?
Right.
Uh,
Right.
Tupac is almost like a whole other, being besides just a rapper to me. So
Yeah. Yeah. Very much a social commentator.
yeah, oh, absolutely, yeah, 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 absolutely. So well, and somewhat of a philosopher too. So
Yeah.
um, but yeah, yeah, that's kind of, I guess that's kind of my style these days, man. I really don't listen to a whole lot of new hip hop.
I don't
Uh,
blame you.
although, like, I've started to kind of get into, what's crazy is that like the guys that I've gotten into here recently, I turn around and find out that they've died.
Oh, I hate when that happens. I did that with comedians. I come across that a lot with comedians.
Like this guy Juice World, I'm really
Yeah.
digging that Juice World's music, and he's dead.
Right.
Pop Smoke was another one that I've here recently started listening to a little bit more, and his
Who?
stuff. Pop Smoke, there's a rapper named,
Oh, right. I had heard about him.
yeah, I think he's from like St. Louis, I want to say, or something. But yeah, his stuff has started popping up on my Spotify a lot more here recently. and I'm just like, man, I kind of like this stuff, and I'm just like, he's dead.
Right. That's how it happens.
Yeah,
I found a comedian named Mitch Hedberg back in 2008, and I was trying to look up a bunch of his stuff. Died in 2003.
yeah, yep, yeah, man. Mitch Hedberg is hilarious.
Yes, absolutely.
I had a friend. I'm trying to. I don't even know who it was. I had a friend, early adulthood that was into Mitch Hedberg a lot, and we used to listen to a lot of his stuff. But yeah, funny stuff.
Yeah. When it comes to like rap music myself, I mainly listen to like Eminem and Tupac because those have always been my couple favorites.
Oh shit!
But
How did I even mention Eminem? Like, duh. I've been listening to Eminem. Literally, I was a child. Like, so, but yeah, because I feel like Eminem has almost mixed every kind of genre or subgenre of hip hop that I've ever liked into one,
right.
Somehow. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he finds a way. He finds a way.
Yeah.
It's kind of weird because like a lot of and with my experience around with music, a lot of people from like the Midwest, like Michigan and Chicago, they kind of have this weird blend where it's like, we're going to steal this from California, we're going to steal this from New York, and then make it our own.
It's definitely a Midwest thing because it's like that here in Louisville too. There was actually a time period in my life where, and actually it kind of correlates with the time period that hip hop kind of slowly died. But there was a time period in my life, man. I'd say it was probably like 2014 to about 2016, 17ish that I listened to nothing but Louisville hip hop, just because like all the people that I was around were just doing really, really, really incredible stuff. And it's kind of cool because now some of those guys are starting to, kind of make a name for themselves, like Jack Harlow. I don't know if you've heard of that kid.
I haven't heard of him. No.
Yeah, Jack Harlow is one of the newer rappers that's out right now. He actually just recently did SNL.
Okay.
He's done a couple. There was a. Have you seen those the Tiny Box series or whatever, NPR?
I think so. Yeah.
He did one of those recently. So like he's been doing some stuff here recently, but like when I was doing music and stuff, he was having to be snuck into the bars that we were playing at and stuff. You know what I mean? So
right.
Cool to see where he's at. But like that's one of the kids that back in the day I was listening to. And then not only that, but a lot of his influences and how he sounds right now is kind of influenced a lot by certain Louisville rappers. You know what I mean? And so like that's cool to hear his influence of like a guy like T Razor, who nobody on this podcast would know of unless they're from Louisville, Kentucky. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, so okay. There is a rapper that I'm familiar with, and I've been following him since the early 2000s. He's not from Kentucky. He's from a bordering state. Have you ever heard of Tech Nine?
Oh yeah, love Tech Nine. Yeah.
Not a lot of people know about him. Well, they know about him not more recently, but
but the people that know about him, they follow and support that. So it's like his strange music following is so big, man, and so loyal. And like if Tech Nine messes with somebody, then his whole entire strange music fan following messes with him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's wild because like they do a lot like a lot of like their own festivals and stuff. Because I've been following. I had an old roommate who was a big Tech Nine fan, and so he had introduced me to a lot of stuff. And I'm like, yo, this guy is one of the best rappers out.
Right.
Like the stuff that he can do and the stuff that he says is just amazing, like incredible. And then like I started following him after that, and then to see different, concerts, and like every concert he does is sold out across the country. You know what I mean? Because he has such a big following. But like you said, a lot of people don't know about him, but the people who know about him know, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And follow everything he does.
Yeah. So, I found him in like 2003, and I remember he did a song called Jellysicle with E40.
Okay.
Back in like 2007, 2008, right around that era. It was on the Ever Ready album, I can tell you that much.
Yeah.
And I remember riding and listening to the radio, and it came on. I go, wait, when did Tech get on the radio? When did this happen? Because I couldn't find him locally. And to give you kind of a perspective, I'm down in Tampa, so I'm way down here, and if it was one of those underground things. As you mentioned, the Kentucky music scene when you're coming up, and at one
Mhm.
point I was involved with. I had a ton of friends that were rappers down here, and part of the way I found Tech Nine is someone happened to be a fan of Tech Nine that moved down here from Illinois and brought it with them. And they kind of spread here.
Ah,
So yeah,
got gotcha. Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty much how it is. I feel like Tech Nine is just one of those word of mouth artists, but
pretty
the
much.
following is spread and spread. But and it's similar. There was a song that he had, but this was actually kind of more recent. Um, it was shoot, I can't remember what song it was. I want to say it was like Hood Go Crazy or something.
It
And
could be that was one with um,
Two Chains.
Two Chains. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. I feel like I heard it on the radio, and I literally thought the same thing. Like, when did they start playing Tech Nine on the radio?
they did.
because we have a running joke here that Louisville is always 5 years behind when it comes to music. Because I can go to St. Louis, I can go to Indianapolis,
Right.
and I'll hear something that's like brand new, like that everybody's talking about on Twitter type thing or whatever, and they'll play it on the radio. But you come to Louisville and you might hear it on the Breakfast Club. You know what I mean? So the local DJs, for some reason, man, until here recently, I feel like they caught on that we caught on.
Right.
But
And I'll tell you something strange because you mentioned like up there in Kentucky,
uh-huh.
Florida is so weird in itself. Like I said, I live in Tampa, so we're a major hub, so we're kind of up to date on a lot of stuff, and so is like Orlando and like
Yeah,
Miami and Jacksonville. But there's other parts where you go in the middle of okay, I'll give you an example. You remember when Blockbuster went out of business?
right. Yep.
At one point, all the Blockbusters were shut down in the Tampa Bay area completely. We traveled to a couple counties over because I was picking up someone from the airport because that's where they flew in. And I'm like, why is there's actually Blockbusters open here? That would close like 2-3 years ago. How is it over here? It's going backwards in time. And there's
Gee,
and it's like in between the major cities down here. That's exactly the way it is. It's like everyone's behind in certain areas, just
yeah.
weirdly behind.
Right. Yeah. It kind of feels like that sometimes here in Louisville, man. Like, especially with like the radio and stuff. But I've noticed it even with like trends, because like I'll notice that certain people will wear a certain style, and again, then again, it could just be cultural, But at the same
Yeah,
time,
probably.
I've seen like certain trends, happen in bigger cities than it has, or way before it has in Louisville. So I don't know. It's just
I mean, it's just one of those things. It's weird how states, even within cities, are completely different from each
yeah.
other.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Well, and going back to Louisville, like we always tell people that Louisville is not a part of Kentucky, like whatsoever. It's almost like its own entire state, period. Just because um, people kind of see Kentucky as one way, and Louisville's not that way at all. Like
Are you
compared to the rest of Kentucky.
are you okay? Are you basically saying Louisville's more of a city, and the rest of Kentucky is more like a country?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. That's why I was trying to read between the lines a little bit there.
Yeah. Well, yeah, yeah. Most of Kentucky, and I mean, like, if I want to, like, be kind of, I don't know, kind of a jerk about it, like, most people see Kentucky and they think that we're running around barefoot everywhere, and it's not like that here in Louisville. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. No, I get it. Well, let's put it this way: anytime you see a weird news article, you see Florida man, right?
Yes. Yep.
That's not Tampa.
Yeah.
It's around Tampa, but that's not Tampa.
Okay.
That's you usually got to go towards the middle of the state, when kind of in between Tampa and Orlando. That's usually where a lot of those stories come from.
Okay. Okay. I got
So
you.
I completely.
Just Tampa, and Tampa seemed quite chill. So I was in Tampa for all the Mania festivities.
I
So
was gonna ask you about that. Did you come down? So you came down here for Mania then?
yep,
Were
I
you here
did.
for Game Changer?
Yes. Well, I was there for Game Changer, and I was also there for ICW No Holds Barred. But originally, I was actually down there for Unsanctioned Pro. That was who had hit me up first. And then that was what made me try and find out about the rest of them. And then I've been working regularly for ICW No Holds Barred. But it just so happened with certain events that had happened while we were in Tampa. There was another referee that got cut real bad in a death match and had to get stitches. And so I had to take